Good morning. You're very welcome to my Monday messages on this beautiful bank holiday Monday. For those of you who don't recognise me or tune in to me, my name's Rebecca. I'm a homeopath, a holistic health coach and a natural health advocate. And I just pop in here every Monday to share a thought, some kind of message, simple practice perhaps for all of us to use as a tool to improve or increase our level of emotional, physical, or spiritual health. So, welcome, and I hope that you're having a beautiful Bank Holiday Monday. If it is indeed a bank holiday where you are, it is here in Ireland. And I know that many of you are on half term this week, so I hope that you're able to enjoy being off with the kids, or at least maybe not rushing on that school run that you would normally be on. And this morning I wanted to actually talk about the concept of doing nothing and what that means and how our understanding of it may actually hinder us in our ability to relax and to enjoy just not necessarily doing something with an end goal, although I'll come on to explain why I think that's almost impossible. Okay, the bank holiday, I had lots of people asking me, what are you doing this bank holiday weekend? Have you got any plans? And I would ask the same question. And often the response was, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm doing nothing, really. And sometimes that was said with absolute relief and, joy that I don't have to do anything. That's fantastic. And other times it was sort of tinged with a little bit of, oh, maybe I should be doing something. And that got me thinking about that phrase of doing nothing. I've just come out of an absolutely beautiful week with my lovely sister, which is why I wasn't in last week. And we had a week of really playing in nature and enjoying everything that Kerry has to offer. We walked in the ancient oak forest, we swam in the sea, we swam in the lakes. We enjoyed good food and lovely conversations. And we also had several lovely hours of doing what my mother would call nothing. And in the past, that would have been something that was very difficult for me. And I think for my sister as well. And again, that fed into, it's interesting. What does doing nothing actually mean? And as soon as I delved into it, it became very clear that it was a really good example of how much meaning we can wrap around a word or a phrase, and how that can cover up the original meaning of the word and mean that later on in life, subconsciously, we are kind of shying away from it. So I'm going to share what I found, because I did some journaling on it, and I just found it really interesting. So I know that for lots of people, including myself, I was brought up by the people who cared for me and my school, and actually I would say arguably the whole collective environment that was the age that I grew up in, maybe still prevalent. I was brought up to believe that doing nothing was not acceptable. It was unproductive, it was lazy, it was, you were not a valuable person if you were doing nothing. And I thought, okay, well, that's interesting, because actually, yes, for years, I found it really, really difficult to relax, to be okay with just sitting around or resting, or basically not having to do something that was productive, that actually had an end result. And that definitely came from my collective upbringing. But even when I looked at the dictionary definition of nothing, i.e., no thing, the dictionary definition I found was, it is no thing. It is something of no value, no progress, not anything, and non-existent, a kind of, doesn't exist. Which is interesting when we come to another dictionary definition that I found, which is a description of somebody as a do-nothing. Now, it's kind of an old-fashioned term, and I don't know that people use that anymore, but the concept is still there, I think, in our society. And a do-nothing person would be regarded as a person who does no work, who therefore has no value, who is not productive, who is a bum, an idler, somebody who's lazy. And that very much feeds into what was actually taught to me. So the concept of doing nothing, being a person who does nothing, was a massive clash with all the other values that I had been brought up with, which is that you work hard, you are productive, you create things, you produce things, you're working, you're making things better all the time. And if you're not doing that, there's no value to it. So that obviously means that why would you choose that? Because you might not be conscious of that, but your subconscious will definitely log that in as being associated with the phrase doing nothing. So that's one enmeshment. Very common, I think, but you let me know. I mean, does that ring true for you? Do you recognise that as something that you were brought up with in your value system, that to do nothing meant you were lazy, idle, not productive, of no value? So, of course, if we're then told later on, well, you don't have to do anything, just do nothing, then your subconscious will be going, no, you don't want to be that person, thank you very much. So that's one very interesting layer that I found to it. And the other thing that sprung up for me when I was thinking about my childhood is, as kids, when you're kind of up to no good, when you kind of know, especially collectively or even individually, that you're doing something that isn't really allowed, that's a little bit pushing the edges, and you do it quite quietly, and your parent or your carer kind of instinctively, energetically feels that because you've gone very quiet and might be crying out from the other room, "What are you doing?" And the answer will always be, "Oh, nothing." And usually, for me, certainly, that was tinged with a feeling of guilt, a feeling of shame, a feeling that I knew that I wasn't really supposed to be doing this. It was naughty. And that definitely for me also got wrapped around that phrase of doing nothing. And I would invite you to think about whether that might be true for you as well. So, cutting forward to our adult selves, when we're told by life coaches or anybody who is well-meaning and is trying to get you to relax, even yourself, even if you kind of know in your head, yeah, I really need to do nothing, down below, your subconscious might be screaming at you, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be that lazy bum. You don't want to feel guilt. You don't want to feel shame. You don't want to feel that you're being naughty. And often lots of people will use that phrase, "Oh, I'm being really naughty. I'm not doing anything," which is a terrible shame, I think. So if you think that might be feeding into why you find it very difficult to do nothing, then just just maybe journal on that and think about it. And I'm going to offer you a third leg to this stool, which is basically that when now I think about it, I don't know that it's possible for human beings to do nothing, because everything we do has some kind of value, has some kind of end result. Even if we just strip it right down to breathing, when we're doing breathing, the end result is that we're keeping alive. It's not conscious, it's subconscious. Pretty much everything we do, we are doing something. We are creatures that do. We do illness, we do breathing, we do listening, we do relaxing, we do thinking, we do emotional processing, we do reading, we do watching the television, we do creativity, we do painting. All of those things, even though they might be wonderful things to relax us and calm our nervous system down and give us joy and give us pleasure, fantastic. We're still doing, though. Even if we're lying down outside, breathing and listening to the birds and the wind in the trees, that's what we're doing. We're doing listening, we're doing breathing, even meditating, we're doing meditation. So I would invite you to perhaps reframe your understanding of doing nothing as being not something that perhaps we can ever actually do ourselves. And that's okay, because doing no thing is what's the word? It's not possible for us to do no thing, because we are always doing something. And that doesn't have to be inherently bad. I think these days we're taught often that if we're truly relaxing, then we need to be no thing. We need to feel no thing. We need to not be ourselves. And I would invite you to just think about whether that's helpful or not for you personally. And if we can rethink the phrase doing nothing, or perhaps use a different phrase and just think, what am I choosing to do right now? I'm choosing to breathe. I'm choosing to do meditating. I'm choosing to do listening. I'm choosing to do reading. I'm choosing to do cleaning, ironing, anything. There's a difference between doing without being conscious of what you're doing. So if each moment of our day is recognizing that we are always doing and being conscious of what we're choosing to do, then maybe we will find it easier to relax and maybe just do one thing at a time and feel okay with that. So I hope that makes sense. I welcome your comments. Do add in any thoughts that you have about that, or whether it resonates with you, whether you feel that, yeah, actually, I recognise that kind of collective weight around doing nothing. It's kind of interesting, isn't it, that the whole definition of no thing, nothing, means something that isn't there. And yet when we apply it to a person who does nothing, it suddenly becomes this massive, great thing with all sorts of meanings. Where did that come from? Why does it mean that you're lazy and idle because you do no thing? Anyway, we could go on. It spirals. It just interested me, and I thought I would share it with you in an attempt to help you to become more conscious of everything that you do and how it works for you and how it maybe doesn't work for you. So have a wonderful bank holiday Monday and half term and whatever you're doing, and enjoy doing whatever you want to do, as long as it serves you in some way. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.